Tim Petrowich for Dateline, Marion, and WGGH Radio, and we're here for our weekly visit, our Week 10 weekly visit with Marion head football coach Jason Dunning. And before we get to talk about this coming playoff game, and even before we get to talk about last Friday night's 49-20 win over 21 win over Mattoon, let's talk about what it feels like to say a Week 10 a Week 10 interview.
I love it. I love it because one of our one of our preseason goals is to punch our ticket on our own back into the playoffs, and I think that's the when we start every year in December and our off season stuff, it's designed to achieve that, to be playing into November at some point. And there's a saying on the Wildcat Creed as the kids walk into the locker room that the games you'll remember are the ones played in November, and that it's a special time to be playing because and one of the big things that we keep harping on with them is that right now there are 32 teams left in 5A. And then after next weekend, it'll now be cut and then cut and then cut. And you want to still be dancing as long as possible.
The way you got there, the way you guaranteed your spot there, and you would have wound up being anyway, but you locked it in with a impressive win over Mattoon. You got up big early. We talked about that
Mm-hmm.
beforehand. I think one of the things you wanted to do was get on them early. You didn't score on your first drive, but
Yeah.
you forced a three and out, went down and scored, and then all of a sudden the floodgates opened up.
And you really don't know because the last several years playing Mattoon, especially when this group was sophomores, we were 4-4 and a must win to get in at Mattoon, and they were 2-6 at the time. And you really don't know how inspired they're going to play, how much motivation they've got. And that year they came out and challenged us, and we even had the lead at half, and then lost it in the second half. But I didn't want to. You want to be rolling right now. You want to be clicking on all cylinders as we go into the playoffs, and we just kept asking the kids all week in practice to play inspired, play motivated, play fast. And we wanted our kids to come out and, especially on senior night, for this special group, the last guaranteed time playing at Wildcat Stadium, we wanted them to come out and play with a sense of purpose, and and they did. They did. They played well. I know we'll get to it. The stat lines of some of the guys was incredible. Really had no idea until I talked to you guys after the game because we're big on play, each series has its own identity, and we don't go back. I don't think about what happened previously. It's just okay. We've got to keep going out there. We got to keep making plays. We got to keep moving the ball offensively. And the kids just played. They played so well at times. And I know we were at halftime. We weren't. Um, it's hard to say that you're not excited when you're up that big, but there were some things that the execution just wasn't up to the standard that we would like. But the kids are still playing well and having fun, and we're rotating a lot of bodies out there on senior night. And when you got 16, you're trying to figure out how to get all of them as much playing time as possible.
One of the things I noticed early in the game, and you made the adjustment. I think the line did a good job of making an adjustment. Was Mattoon tried to counter the passing attack by bringing pressure early in the
Mm-hmm.
game, and a couple times they got the Cal and they didn't get a sack, but they hurried to throw or altered the play a little
Mm-hmm.
bit. I think starting with that second possession and then especially going forward, you had the right plays in there, and the execution was there to get the ball out quick, and really neutralize that pressure they
Yeah,
brought.
Cal does a nice job of getting rid of the ball. We changed the snap count at times. We tried to freeze him at times. We tried to get him moving so they couldn't just get home and get after him. And as you said, kind of get him off that mark. We were trying to go against that, but Cal just has a knack for understanding what his objective is, what he's trying to do with the ball. And Coach Benoit did a tremendous job, as he's done all season, of calling plays that allow Cal to move, allow the line to not just take it on, but let's move and change his launch point a little bit. And but he did it. He did a great job. And when you go 29 for 34, that's a pretty good night.
We'll get into that in a minute, but just like Friday night after the game, I want to give the shout out to the defense. You look at 49-21, you go, well, you gave Mattoon 21 points, and they're a 1-8 team, and
Yeah,
yeah, that's a lot of it's their varsity against your second and third string defense in the second half. The first In the first half, Mattoon had 3 first downs. I think they had one big play and maybe 45
yeah.
or 50 yards in total offense. The defense just really did a good
We played,
job.
yeah, we played well. And we were even rotating some guys in. We were trying to make sure that Marley Benavie and Aiden Murphy, two seniors that don't get a whole lot of playing time, that on senior night they got an ample amount of playing time. But I was just happy how they played, and I think I told you last night on our little live show that one of my, if not my favorite play of the season, one of my favorite is, so many times we give them cues, we talk about things defensively, we talk about alignments, and we want them to be coached and we want them to be prepared. And we had seen on film that there's certain times that the quarterback would just jump under center, and we had an adjustment for it. And the guys at a critical time did it, and they did it to perfection. We got a huge fourth down stop down deep in their zone, and they went for it on 4th and 1, and quarterback went under center. We made the adjustment. He tried to bounce it. Blake Winters triggered. Hudson kind of comes around, and they're pulling on him, and kind of a little tug of war battle. But we uh, we stopped him on downs, and we got the ball there, and that was a huge proud moment, because it's something that you talk about and you keep reiterating to them that, hey, this is why we're doing this. And we showed it to them on Monday. We practiced on Tuesday, Wednesday, and then they executed on Friday night. And I think that's one of those signs that when you're watching film, that's a well-coached team. That's a well-coached team, that the adjustment, the offense came out, changed the play, the defense adjusted, executed. And so that was good. But I was happy with uh, how hard we played defensively, and I want to be that way going into the playoff.
So before the game started, we were talking about seniors, and one of the keys to the game that we had, Justin said that one of my keys to the game is to let a lot of seniors get to eat. And I
Yes,
know that's slang for get to make some plays and do
yes,
some things. And so then we look, and in the first half, Cal's got 5 touchdown passes to 5 different seniors.
yeah.
And yeah, I think he heard that message, and he got all of them involved. And I mean, he gets them involved every week, but just to see that stat line, that's
Hey,
one of the most
yeah.
impressive stat lines of the night.
I think that one. I mean, and when the game's falling like that, you don't really realize what the yardage is. But I think when you told me that after the game, that is just a way. And we said in the locker room, play in such a way as to honor each other, play in such a way as to honor this class, this program. And they went out and did it. We do. And being a part of Coach Martin and his staff for so long, we do something that not very many people know that we do, but we have a tradition that the last team meal, the team meal week 9, we take the kids at wherever we're at, whatever church or whatever establishment that we're eating at that night, and we set the seniors up in front of the rest of their teammates. And all the coaches, we talk about each one individually. And we thought about bringing the parents in, but they were like, no, this is just for us. This is our family kind of talk. And we kept reiterating to the team, it's gonna be long. It's going to be,
Yeah,
because you got
16 of
you
them.
got 16, and then we throw in there kind of an unsung hero guy in Troy Griffin that he played last year, and then due to some uh, risk issues, concussion probability he decided not to play, but he's still a huge part of what we do. We pride ourselves on preparation and film, and he is he has kind of taken on this kind of. He's not an assistant coach, but he's not a manager. He's kind of that in the colleges they call them GAs, kind of that grad assistant that's there.
Right.
And Troy is an integral part of what we do in this program. So we had 17 guys that we had to spend time talking about. And they're guys that have had an impact on this program and have changed this program. And you bring up the names of Cal and Junie and Sam and Alex and Malachi, Logan Hoffman, and the list just goes on. And it was a long meeting. But then we turn around and it's kind of a way of passing the torch, so to say, you younger guys that are here watching them, in a couple of years, that's going to be you. We're going to be talking about you and what you've done, your legacy to the program, and some of the stories that the coaches shared have nothing to do with what they've done on the field. Guys that are what we call program players that have been around, like I think of, Zach Short. Nobody knew his name coming into this season, but he stayed, he bought in, he worked hard, and he earned his right as a senior to be the starting center. But it's those stories and that quality time that we get to just within our family, and it's something special that we share. But it takes a while when you got that many.
So the numbers you referred to earlier, the silly numbers, ridiculous numbers, whatever. 29 for 34, 435 yards, 6 touchdowns. In the process, tied the single season touchdown record of 34, and came within 4 yards of tying the career passing mark. Just another outstanding game from Callahan Roper, and you kind of hinted, and I thought the same thing actually, that you don't know he's there until you look up and the numbers are there.
And the numbers are there. And I say this, and I know it's being recorded, but that game will stick with me. And being my third year into this, there's things I'm going to learn, there's things that I'm going to remember, and I wish that I had known that he was 4 yards away from breaking the all time record.
Right.
Just because and I drove up to Mattoon to watch our younger kids play, watch the JV guys play Saturday morning, so there was time to kind of reflect going up there and coming back, and I think it would have been and you constantly ask yourself after ball games what would have changed, what would I have done differently, and I think knowing that he was 4 yards away, and we all know that he's going to break that. He's going to break
Right.
that Saturday. But it would have been nice, and it's I try not to have too many regrets, but it would have been nice to call a timeout. Just let I probably would have let their coach know, hey, here's what's going on. We're not going to try to score. We're already up. We've got running clock, whatever. But we're going to let our quarterback break this record at home.
Right.
And then been able to let the home crowd, let Cal, because I tried to, in my pregame message, talk to those seniors about I've learned through stuff of take time to embellish the moment. And I think about some of the stuff I've done, and I was so focused on the ball game, or I was so focused on the competition that I didn't take time to just soak this in and look around and enjoy that. And I thought I love that Friday night's game got to do that, but that's the only regret that I have is that we didn't add that and just go, hey, here we go, we're going to complete this 4 yards. That way he can move on from it and enjoy it, but that the Wildcat faithful that were still here at that time could embrace that time and give him the due diligence and the respect that he gets from that. He's an outstanding player, and I have no doubts we'll break that.
Do want to make this point that because I don't know how to add, between season and season. He actually now needs 5 to break the record, not 4.
Yeah, yeah,
But you could have thrown a 7 or 8 yard pass and got away with that
could
too.
have done something there. But and I was talking to my son on when we got home, and I told him, he said, "Why would you have?" Because I think there comes a point where you sub, and I think there's a way of doing it respectfully. And I would have just told him, "Hey, we're doing this. This is why we're doing it. We're not going to try to throw a touchdown pass. We're just going to let him complete this pass and enjoy that moment." And I think that there's a game within a game, and that with certain staffs, you just take that respect and give Cal that opportunity.
Another guy who is climbing the record books and has a shot at a couple of records this weekend with a big game. Junius Thomas
Mm-hmm.
became the second Wildcat to go over 1,000 yards in the season receiving, and I think he needs 135 to become the single season record holder.
Shoo.
And when Vincent Newsom set those records for career and single season passing yards, wasn't sure they'd ever be broken. And now here it is just a couple years later, and you've got a
It
guy who's
is.
knocking on the door.
Well, and I think too, and it was a point I was going to bring up last night, but it just didn't fit into what we were doing. I think, yes, Junius is talented, but I think what allows him, what allowed Vince, what allowed Jaden and those other guys to get to that mark is having other guys that teams have to worry about. Because
Right.
otherwise, teams are going to double him, and he doesn't get the touches, and he doesn't get that. But when Sam is, before the injury, Sam's tearing it up. He's ahead of Judy. He's leading that. So now teams have to figure out, okay, which one do you want to take away? And then you add in Logan Hoffman into the mix, which much like with Vince was like having Mason Gooch out there and going, okay, if you take this guy and you double this guy, you still got to count for this guy. And I think, yes, Judy's put up some big numbers, but I think it's also the fact that there's so many other threats that teams have to worry about. That's what allows him to get open because teams can't just focus on him. And when we've had receivers get big numbers, it's because you've obviously got a guy that can throw it and get him the ball, but you've also got other threats that teams have to be, they have to be careful, they have to honor. And when you got, and it's crazy, Tim, you brought up the stats ahead of time. Sam's one touchdown behind
Right.
season wise, one touchdown behind career wise. So and Sam was leading prior to it. So it's like those two are kind of battling back and forth and competing. But they've both had great years. But yeah, Judy just has a knack for doing things that, as we kind of say, Judy does what Judy does. It's not anything that's directly coached or schemed. It's just, hey, find a way to get your guy the ball and then kind of step back and just let him use his athleticism and make plays.
I think he kind of reminds me of a Larry Fitzgerald type of receiver. He's not the guy you throw the bomb to. I mean, you could if you wanted to, but he's
Yeah,
not the guy you throw the bomb to. He's the guy you throw it 15 yards down the field,
it's like,
and he breaks 18 tackles and goes. And I mean, I've seen him. There was a play against Mattoon Friday night where he
yeah,
caught a screen pass and he looked like a pinball out there, and all of a sudden he's picked up 20 yards when he should have been tackled for a 5 yard
yeah. And
loss.
he's so physical. He's so hard to tackle. He's just got a knack, you know, when when Judy was kind of God made Judy, he just kind of gave him this natural ability to great sense of balance. Not the best route runner, but is gonna make his bank, so to say, on that yard that he gets after he makes that catch. He finds a way to get open, and like I said, teams Coach Benoit is able to play chess out there and okay, you want to do this? Well, we can beat you vertically with Sam, or we can dump the ball underneath with Judy and just let him go. But
Yeah, and if there's any kind of a narrow gap, he's going through it like a slingshot
yeah,
now. I mean, he just he finds those seams that he can get through in a hurry.
He does.
Um, in the playoffs,
Mhm.
8-9 matchup, so that close to a possible home game.
Yeah.
You're going to Mahomet Seymour. The all-time series is 1-0 in favor of Marion,
Yeah.
but that was 6 years ago, and so none of the kids that are on any of the teams
No.
this year were part of that. Talk about the matchup from your perspective.
We kind of had this narrowed down to about 3 teams, and Muhammad was on that list. So we had kind of been looking, and even Saturday morning when going up to the JV game, I talked to Coach Kimbrough, and we got a common opponent. We both play Mattoon. Scores are kind of similar when you kind of think about it and look at it. Um, but yeah, we went up there 6 years ago. Coach Atkins, their current head coach, it was his first game there as a head coach. Beautiful facility, easy to get to. They're excited. Their fan base is loud. It's going to be unique because it's a grass field. We haven't played on grass in 2 years, but it's still the same service that both teams have to play on. Um, Very comparable, I think, in styles. They've got a kid that's quarterback's just under 1,300 yards passing, and they've got a couple of running backs that have ran for combined about 1,000 yards. I think they're a run first um, type of team. They like to throw the ball and do a lot of formations. So kind of very similar in what the two teams are.
I know you guys mentioned earlier in the week that they're a pretty physical team too.
Yep.
They like to mix it up.
Yep. They're going to be physical on defense, very aggressive. Um, they're known for their their kind of base defense, and they're going to fly to the ball and they're going to play hard. And I know they were excited finding out that they've got a home game because those are special in the playoffs. But yeah, they're going to be sound. Um, he does a great job. The program has been there. They've had success over the last few seasons. Um, it's gonna be a good ball game, and so we'll go up there a little under 3 hours, so not much different than our normal kind of travel plans, and so we'll get up and head up there on the bus. We'll make one quick stop on the way, and then be ready to play a ball game.
So when you look at them, the other thing that seems to be the case in most of the games that Marion plays in is that you're probably going to have a slight advantage when it comes to quickness and speed.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we've talked about the speed that this team has, and of course, I mean, like with guys like Junie, you throw speed and the ability to break tackles in there, but there may be an opportunity for you to take advantage of that, especially offensively.
Oh, absolutely, and just kind of doing. I mean, it's week 10. It's no surprise who we are and what we do well. Um, but yeah, we've got to utilize our agility, our quickness. We've got to be explosive. Defensively, we have to find ways to make stops, make it hard, not give up, not be snake bitten, and give up an easy touchdown. But I think it's a game that won't be decided until the fourth quarter. I think we've got to be it's going to be close throughout, and you know go into the fourth quarter, and hopefully we're you know right there in the ball game still.
It has all the earmarks of being a 47-45 type game.
Woo! The defensive side is a little
Yeah,
okay, but I think you're to the point now in the 5A playoffs. Everybody's good.
and but yeah,
Everybody's
well,
good.
and when I say that, when you see a game that looks like it could be a 47-45 type game, and I've seen it all the time, turns out to be 17
Oh
14.
man, nah. But you know what? I don't care. I don't care because it's about playing in November. It's about being still alive and playing those numbers and going, hey, what's your focus? Get to the round of 16. Get to the round of 16. Get the opportunity to play at home. Seniors earn that right. Go out and just play fast, play physical, play inspired. Just play with a sense of consistency. There's going to be they're going to take some haymakers and they're going to take some big swings. We're going to take some big swings. We've got to have a strong chin, take it, make adjustments, um, find ways to get the offense the ball back, and let's go. Leave it all out there on the table and just play hard, um, which our kids have done all year. Challenge them at times. Um, be explosive. Let Judy and Sam and Logan and Blake and Marcus and all of our dudes. Let Alex find his way into those grass spaces and move the chains and put up points and just prepare to play 48 minutes and let's earn that right if that's how it's supposed to be. Earn that right to come home week 2.
You mentioned earlier that it's the first time in 2 years you're playing on natural grass surface. Any kind of special preparations? Are you
No,
spending more time practicing on the grass this week than
no,
normal, or?
because it's one of those things. I think lesson be learned. We really kind of I think overemphasize the week of Centralia, and I think we were caught up in that. It's a great surface. I remember playing there before. Um, we had no issues. Weather-wise, you're looking at that. Do we go and practice on the grass? Well, I think the conditions the last couple of days aren't real. It's not worth the risk of going out there and practicing on the grass in preparation for a field that's in such good shape. It's not going to feel like that. So, but bottom line, it's do what we do and execute at a high level, play at a high level, um, play sound, and just do what we do, be who we are. Don't try to be something that we're not.
Health-wise, you mentioned Marcus, and you could tell he was chomping at the bit Friday night, but you kept him out, give him another week.
Yeah,
Is so Marcus going to be
yeah.
good to
He's
go?
gonna. I think we're gonna go in. As healthy as we can be, all guns blazing. Marcus will be ready to go. And yeah, Friday night is that situation. Okay, don't use him unless we absolutely have to. Let's see how the game plays out. And I love the fact that we didn't have to use him. We got ahead. We were able to use some other guys. Let Patton Steinsaltz and even the Ashton Norman and the other little puppy, the freshman kid, Vance Burford, got a touch out there. And it's about getting those guys a chance to play on Friday nights and get them in preparation for the future. Because, like we talked about, you got 16 seniors.
And you,
Someone's got to replace those.
as much as you love not having to use Marcus, you probably also love the fact he was in your ear trying to get in the game
Oh
too.
yeah, he's come on, let me in. No, no, no. Especially, and then you get to that point in the ball game where it's like, why? There's nothing to be
Right.
gained from here. You stay healthy, you get better, and so he'll be. And I said, you always want to leave them wanting more. You want to leave that itch in there and go, hey, just reserve that. Okay, keep saving up, keep banking that thing, and then let's uh let's let him loose week 10 against Mahomet.
So I wanna talk about being on the road in the postseason because you mentioned that Muhammad has a great atmosphere. We know what kind of atmosphere is here at Wildcat Stadium, but we've seen historically, even going all the way up to Joliet to play
Mm-hmm.
Joliet Catholic, the Wildcats travel
We
extremely
we
well.
travel well. We travel well, and I don't think this is going to be any different. The Wildcat faithful will be there. It'll be exciting. I'm excited for the kids to as we enter the field. Okay, unless they change something, which I doubt, but we'll enter the field across the way and we'll be able to look, and the fans will get these kids fired up and play in such a way as to come back because yes, we travel well, but there's still no place like home and no place like Wildcat Stadium, and we want to earn the right and play in such a way as we get to come home week 2.
Yeah, and that's the thing because a win on Saturday guarantees you a home game
Okay,
in round two.
and that'll be a chance to hear for this group to hear country roads again is always special, and just there's just such a calmness to playing here. There's just such, no matter what the game is, there's just a sense of just being here, being at our place is so um, such a comfort that we want to earn that. And so yeah, we'll go up there. We're gonna play the it's funny we talk about getting our ticket to the dance. Well, we got our ticket, we punched our ticket, and now we know who, when, and where we're gonna be dancing, and that's gonna be 2 o'clock at Mahomet on Saturday.
All right, there it is, 2 o'clock in Mahomet, Saturday afternoon. It's just a few miles from Champaign. It's not that far away. So I urge you to take that trip up there. And of course, if you are listening on the pregame show and you haven't made that trip, keep it right
Yeah.
here, and you can listen to it on the legendary WGGH. This is Marion head football coach Jason Dunning for Dateline Marion and WGGH Radio. I'm Tim Petrowich.